Okay, welcome back to part two of conversation with Dato Ambiga. This is the point, Dato, that you raised some 2 weeks ago. Caught the attention of everyone. You said that this government is probably the most dictatorial in the history of the country. And of course, there was rebuttals of your statement from Fahmi Fazil and a lot of other pro-government propagandists. But let me ask you, what makes you say that?
Well,
Aside from what you have explained, I mean, there must be.
apart from what I said earlier, because of all the things that have occurred, which have very serious consequences, actually. And then there is this issue of if I can just mention this very briefly, which is the judiciary, the question of appointments. So from February, we've had no CJM, okay, Chief Judge Malaya. Why? When there's so many people who are qualified, right? So we don't know what's going on, and I think that's the problem. So the minute that happens, question marks are asked. People get very insecure. Hey, what's going on? Then we know the newspapers have come out and said the AG will be is tipped to be made the next CJM, but he's not even, of course, a federal court judge yet, or has been, or what, I'm not sure. But the thing is this: none of those reports were ever addressed by the government.
Yeah.
Why can't you just tell the truth? If there's nothing going on, and in fact statements have been issued, because it looks like government interference. It looks like they're stalling it. But if that's not the case, if they're wrong, if that coverage is wrong, come out and say so. The silence makes it worse. So I think they must come out, and this I'm afraid the Prime Minister has to do. Please tell us what's happening with the judiciary, because we want to make sure that all the hard-fought gains that have been made are not completely lost. Because that to me, if you are, and certainly this Prime Minister knows what it's like, okay, because he's been through the mill previously. So in my mind, it cannot be an interference. That's not what surely this government is doing, because for me that would be the biggest betrayal of the people. So that's going on here. Okay, so that is another issue that is of worry. Then you have other things going on, like the rally, the Teo Beng Hok rally at Parliament, huge crackdown there. Although of course PM has seen the Teo Beng Hok crackdown, I'm very pleased about that. That's a good thing.
But do you think anything will come out of it?
We'll have to wait and see. They say do I really think? Deep down?
I don't think it will have. I'm sorry to say,
Yes.
but I think something that has been stalled for 15 years, nobody's going to revive it.
It has happened. The revival of things that happened more than 15 years ago, it has occurred. But the other thing that won't, it's like the Indira Gandhi case as well.
Yeah.
You have court decisions, you have court orders. She still hasn't seen her baby girl, okay? Who's now
You have a
teenager.
federal court order,
You have a federal court order.
and yet
we
you don't
can't
have to follow.
We can't enforce it. We cannot, our police are the best, one of the best in the world, okay? And we're not such a huge country that it's impossible to track down. She still hasn't seen her child.
Yeah.
So those things, of course, are the previous but today, these are things that should be addressed.
It should be addressed, yeah. And I mean, you mentioned about the Attorney Generals just now, and that's also my favorite topic, because I don't believe in this principle that has been accepted by so many lawyers or judges, that the Attorney General's discretion,
Yes.
this and that, cannot be questioned. Because I, as a lawyer myself, I thought that any power, any legal power, as Azlan used to say,
Has legal
must have
limits.
limits.
That's right.
You cannot question the Attorney General why he prosecuted KK a supermarket owner, and then 2 months later you took it out. It's like a wayang. It's like you're playing with laws, and you can't charge someone and then for some reason withdraw it without any explanation, without any attempt to be decent about it. I mean, that to me is an abuse of power, and I don't know how we can overcome this, because for so long as the Attorney General is the public prosecutor and subservient to the Prime Minister, we cannot solve this problem.
But that's why the separation is important. And I'm not disagreeing with you, Zaid. I can't say too much because I'm arguing one of the cases that is now before.
Okay.
So I won't say too much
Yeah,
about
of
that,
course.
about the discretion, where we are actually challenging the discretion, by the way. But I understand some of the reasons why it cannot be in every case, right? Because otherwise every day you'll be in court and the criminal justice system will come to a halt. But there must be situations where you can. But anyway, I can't say much more than that. But I think generally this move to splitting the AG and the public prosecutor, the advisor and public prosecutor role of the Attorney General, I think that may help in some way.
But it won't happen
Why do you say that?
because of power.
Well, our Minister of Law has
No.
announced that, and I thought I was quite hopeful for that.
No, I
to
think
be
it's a lot
honest.
of wayang.
Okay.
Because a lot of things can be done in this country that appears to be serious, but it actually is not. If the Prime Minister, do you think the Prime Minister will relinquish his authority over the public prosecutor in this country, a very politicized country, where everything has political dimension to it, political consideration to it? No. So to me, it's a good that Azalina has made some visits here and there. It's a good holiday, but she will not be able to produce. I challenge her, produce a serious separation between public prosecutor and the Attorney General. Tell me how the mechanism of the appointment will be made. Who are the people staffing that office and things like that? I know, Dato, that other countries too have this provision in the constitution. I mean, Attorney General, also public prosecutor, and there's no problem. They're able to professionally discharge their duties. But we are not in that situation. We are politicized to the hilt, and we have seen cases where political considerations matter
Of course.
greatly in the decision making of the public prosecutor. So anyway, that's my 2 cents of
Your little rant.
my rant. but
You should invite the minister onto your show. and
oh,
ask
she
her.
won't come. She won't.
Oh, I think she's quite sporting. She might well come.
Okay, if you can arrange that.
No, I can't. You have to.
Nobody. I just want to come back to this, what you said just now about the judiciary. I'm very concerned too, because this idea that you don't have to say anything about something so important, that's my issue with this government. When it suits them, they talk loud, but or they keep quiet.
Yes.
There is no attempt to really address the issue that people raise. So, how do you expect? Okay, election is another 3 years. It's a long way to go, and Sabah and Sarawak plays a very important part. But how do you see Sabah and Sarawak viewing all this thing? Because as you know, the politics are different, the people are different,
Background is different.
the background different. How do you see Sabah and Sarawak view what is happening here?
Oh, they're probably quite alarmed, and I think they're happy to stay. They're happy with where they are, far away from this. And I think the answer to that is if you go there, all right, you can immediately feel the difference between the atmosphere in Sabah. By the way, I'm still not allowed to go into Sarawak. I haven't tried recently, but the last time I tried, I was not allowed.
They should allow you. You're
yeah,
harmless.
I'm totally harmless. Absolutely.
I wish I have Abang Joe's number. I
Yes.
don't.
Yes. So, so yeah, it is. It must be alarming, but they use whatever means they can with the immigration laws and all that, which are not necessarily fair. I suppose to try and stop some of these influences coming in. But yeah, I mean, I think that is something that is worth, in a way, it's good, because how far can we go here, all right, if there is pushback from East Malaysia, and there will be, because I think they're very clear about what they need and what they want. So
You are not worried about separation?
I hear it. Yes, I am.
People are telling me.
I know.
Which I said, oh, it can't be.
I also say it can't be.
But the people are talking.
Because people are unhappy. You see, when people are unhappy, that's what they will say. But I think ultimately, I don't know. I can't tell actually. I'd rather not try and guess, because that may not be fair to them. But coming back to what you said about this whole idea of dictatorial. Okay, so yes, and the reason I made that statement was it was in the wake of the licensing of social media. Okay, and that, by the way, they haven't actually addressed properly, because it's a very simple issue. It's the licensing. They say, oh, this country has it, that country has it, this country. I can tell you very few countries have licensing. They have regulations. They have controls. We're okay with that. They have laws. We also have laws, actually. That's fine. What I'm objecting to is the licensing. It's like under the printing, that act, which they said they would repeal.
And even Singapore has that control.
Yes, but
mechanism. But I like the one in Singapore. You know why? They say, okay, this is fake news. This is wrong. You correct it.
Yes.
So there is this
ownership. Users take ownership.
So there is that. I mean, why can't we follow that? I mean, if the worry is that people might do or say stupid things that is harmful to society or to the country, okay, you tell them to retract, tell them to correct it, whatever, apologize. But there is no mechanism for that.
No. That's why I say City, they didn't like what poor City said about the Prime Minister. They just picked it up.
I just want to bring back to this issue of cyberbullying. I know there was this tragic case of someone who committed suicide because of pressure and humiliation from the bullies. But bullies are everywhere, And whilst I don't know whether that case, if you remember, Dato, the person who did the bullying, she was charged under Minor Offences Act.
Correct.
So obviously, that's not that serious. Why do you charge under Minor Offences Act when you could have charged under other provisions we have today? Which gives me this idea that they charge under that Offences Act, Minor Offences Act, which carries a $100 fine. It's only to make the public angry, which then justifies them pushing this whatever cyberbullying law that they have in mind. And because I think the one that has been bullied are the government ministers. I don't know. There are some bullying in the social side, but it cannot be that serious. I think they want to curtail the bullying they receive from social media platform. That's why they are so anxious to curtail this, or they are serious about cyberbullying laws. But what have you heard about the cyberbullying? Are they going to implement it like?
It's done. It's coming into force. I mean, they start implementing in January. The licensing.
Yeah.
The licensing. And there are other issues, by the way, which is very technical, so I won't go into all of that. But the licensing part, as I say, it's in principle wrong, because it's a leash. A license is a leash. And yearly,
Yeah.
So every year you have to. So you are making them self-censor, all right? You are supposed to be great promoters of freedom of speech, and you're doing this. So, but when they explain it, they talk about other countries and so on. What they don't tell you is most of the other countries don't have licensing. Indonesia, I think, perhaps is one of them, some form of licensing. England doesn't have it. So, and in their explanatory Q&A, frequent FAQs, sorry, they explain all this, and they say, oh, this country has, that country has, everybody is on the same page that we must regulate. We're also on that same page. It's how. The licensing is very naughty, the way they're trying to do that, because it's exactly like what they're doing. And I'll add this, okay, the reason I use the word most dictatorial is because when I said what I said, they of course came out and they started talking about Tun Mahathir's era, etc. We used to
Operasi Lalang.
Yes, we used to fight Tun Mahathir, and yes, we called him a dictator.
Yeah.
But even he
Yeah.
didn't silence the internet. Okay,
Yeah.
of course things have changed. There was no TikTok and all that there. But even he, who you call it a dictator, and I did as well, all of us did.
Yeah.
Even he didn't touch
Yeah.
because there were, and in fact there's a bill of guarantees, no censorship.
Yeah.
Okay, but I am aware that then some regulation is needed. So really, all I'm saying is, but I mean, the word dictatorial got their attention because, but the point is, I really wish they will rethink this, because once you introduce it, you can never roll it back. These are the kinds of things you can never roll back. And you see PPPA, despite them saying we want to repeal, they're not going to repeal it.
And yes, okay. I thought we'll take another break, short break, and we'll come back to the last part
Sure.
in 2 minutes. Thank you.